Updated with all your SEC Media Day coverage with 1010XL. It's 91 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
It's been a fast and furious time up in Dallas, or I should say over in Dallas, for the crew. Mia O'Brien, Matt Hayes, Frank Frangie have been working very diligently to bring you tons of content. Taylor Dahl, Jay Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. We are here in Jacksonville at 1010XL headquarters. Mia is over in Dallas, and Mia, day two, saw the first time Kalen DeBoer met the media with Alabama.
Yes, indeed. The Alabama contingent was here bright and early, Lauren. They were already here when I made my way down here around 8:30. And so Kalen DeBoer was already on SportsCenter this morning. The rest of the players were on SEC Network with our friend Chris Doring. And so, they were here bright and early. And I will tell you, I already tweeted out the video. If you want to see, at Mia O'Brien TV on X. It was very surreal as Kalen DeBoer was asked questions about Nick Saban, with Nick Saban quite literally in the room for the SEC Network on the desk. It was a very surreal moment in time.
Yeah, I think we've talked so much about Alabama and the changes in Kalen DeBoer, and even honestly a decent amount of Jalen Milroe recently, Mia. One of the comments that one of the offensive linemen, Tyler Booker, said today, he made a comment about Jalen Milroe and how he thinks he's going to take it to a whole new level in Kalen DeBoer's system, which we've mentioned of what he was able to do in Washington with Michael Penix. Is that a big talking point there, too, of just how big of a step Jalen Milroe can take this season, too?
Yeah, I think so. When you talk about the quarterbacks that are going to be paraded through here on Radio Row over this course of this week, Jalen Milroe is certainly, I'd say, in the top three. I think I'm safe in saying that, alongside Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers, in terms of, at the very least, star and staying power. The growth of Milroe will be fascinating because we know, in terms of natural God-given ability, when you look at that three-horse race that it was a year ago in Tuscaloosa at the quarterback position, shout out to Taylor's friend Tyler Buckner, now a lacrosse player, or maybe he's a football player.
I think he's a wide receiver now.
I think he's a wide receiver now. Anywho, the point is, between Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner, and Jalen Milroe, the knock was always Jalen Milroe is the youngest, but he's probably the most naturally athletic of the bunch. And ultimately, that is what prevailed. And it has always been a question of development. And I think you bring in a head coach who has experience developing quarterbacks, most notably Michael Penix Jr. But I said it yesterday on the program. I believe I said it on the Frangie show as well. I just can't help but come back to, when it comes to recruiting, right? Recruiting has, as much as the game itself and sports itself has become, the world is flat, if you may, because if you can, the whole notion of, well, I want to play close to home because I want to have my parents be able to come see me. I want them to be able to watch me on TV, et cetera, et cetera. I could go to Notre Dame because they're a national brand and they're nationally broadcast, right? That doesn't exist. Recruiting, though, I think still has that regional feel to it. And Kalen DeBoer has defied those odds everywhere he's been, whether that's in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, whether that is at the University of Indiana, or Indiana University, the University of Washington, and now in Tuscaloosa. He hauls in 2 5-stars over the weekend. And so that's where I'm banking on him, not only to develop Milroe, but to literally pick up the baton and not miss a beat from Nick Saban. And yes, I know those are lofty expectations, and I'm putting the greatest of all time, perhaps, up against DeBoer. But I quite frankly believe he can do it because Nick Saban has created an infrastructure where he can come in, the basics are already accounted for, and he can actually focus on developing the quarterback and getting on the road recruiting.
All right, Mia, let's set the scene. Greg Sankey will join the guys of XL Primetime at 2 p.m. Billy Napier will join the Frangie Show at 5 p.m. Eastern. I know Jeff Lebby, the head coach of Mississippi State, is going to make his way through Radio Row here in a little bit. And also, we want people to hear from Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz, who was on the Frangie Show towards the end yesterday, but we want to be able to have people hear him as well.
Yes, absolutely. So you will hear from Eli Drinkwitz. He showed up. I don't want to make fun of him because he is such a nice guy, and he truly proved us all wrong last year. So many people thought he was on the hot seat, middle of the road Mizzou. What will they ever actually become? And they won 11 games last year. They beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Take that information for what it's worth. And that's where I can't come back. I keep coming back to the fact that, yes, while he's a little nerdy looking, Eli Drinkwitz is coaching perhaps the best wide receiver in college football in Luther Burden. Even if you're not buying Missouri stock for this year and you don't believe they can make the playoff, you don't believe they can get to double-digit wins, I do believe that Luther Burden has the potential to repeat as the Biletnikoff winner. I do believe he could be a top 15 pick when all is said and done in next April's NFL draft. Could he go the same way as Jordan Addison, who won the Biletnikoff as a sophomore at Pitt, then transferred to USC and never really lived back up to those expectations? Absolutely. But I'm buying his stock. I may not be buying Missouri stock, but I'm buying stock in him. And I do believe that the Drink has proven that in the NIL age, especially in the fertile recruiting ground of St. Louis, he can get guys to stay at home, which is a lot harder than it sounds on the surface level. And so you'll hear from him coming up a little bit later here in the 12 o'clock hour of Helmets and Heels. The Mississippi State contingent. Shout out to Mississippi State, by the way. Round of applause, RJ. Hey, RJ, how you doing? Round of applause back at 1010XL World Headquarters for them because their sports information department, rock stars. I walked in at 8:30. I'm doing a call with Fort Myers Radio, and they already came up to me and said, hey, who do you want? And I'm like, I just got here. What are you talking about? Like, give me a second, like, to breathe. Debrief Barry, our engineer, who's visiting with us from Dallas, because they were already ready to go. They were already ready to hand off the baton, see who we could get for interviews. And so a couple of those players are making their way back through here. So hopefully we'll get to speak with them as well before we speak with Jeff Levy coming up a little bit later here on Helmets and Heels.
All right, so let's get to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The throwbacks, it sure feels like, are going to be unveiled tomorrow as the Miller Electric Center Jaguars Pro Shop will open at 9:04. That time, of course, a shout out to the area code here in Jacksonville. Not what like Urban used to say in the 9:04. No, this is Duval, but it will be at 9:04. And of course, Jaguars say will be broadcasting there from 10 to noon. Taylor, I feel like this for some Jaguars fans might rank ahead of even the Trevor Lawrence contract extension. Like, the throwbacks coming out are almost more exciting than anything probably other than the stadium.
I mean, this is one topic that is universally wanted, appreciated, loved. There's obviously the people that didn't want Trevor's contract. So there's that division. The Jaguars throwback jerseys, not only in Jacksonville are popular, but outside of Jacksonville, people are constantly like, these are some of the best unis we've ever seen. Bring these back. And it's really cool because I feel like the Jaguars, obviously not being one of the older teams, don't have many things that teams nationally are like, that's really cool. And now they're bringing these back, and the stadium will be that, I think, eventually. But right now, having this to where somebody universally, this is something that everybody loves and has wanted for a long time to return. And some people still have, their old ones. That's really cool that you could rep. But now you're able to do that with some of these new players that, Josh Hines-Allen and Trevor Lawrence and some of these other guys that we've already built the legacy with Fred Taylor and with Jimmy and all of these. And then now we have this whole other group of guys that we can get these throwbacks with that people want to own jerseys for, which it's been a while since maybe some people have wanted to buy a new Jags jersey. Perfect timing.
Yeah, very excited. I know the Jaguars social team. I speak for them. I speak for the 1010XL multimedia staff when I say, at long last, we won't have people adding us for every single thing we post saying, reveal the new throwback uniforms. I'm going to be 100 with you guys. Like, I got people inside the building at the Miller Electric Center, like, not involved in media, and they're like, I just feel so bad for the social team because anything they post, they get the reply. It's no longer fire Bulky. It's no longer pay Trevor. It's no longer pay Josh Allen. Now it's release the throwbacks, which is probably the easiest of those four things to deal with.
That the social team can actually maybe have
that they actually can have an impact on that front. And so, yes, it's a long time coming. We will be very excited. And, of course, Jaguars Today will be live. I'm very jealous that they will be live for what I described to some people here at SEC Media Days as what I envision being a conga line stretching from the pro shop at the Miller Electric Center, around the Miller Electric Center, around Everbank Stadium. I saw some of the BCB crew. They're already tailgating at the slab right now, for a jersey reveal.
That's dedication.
Shout out to Cade and company. God bless you. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do for the next 22 hours, but have fun doing it.
I know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I do
down
too.
for a tailgate.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm also like, hey, you got 22 hours to fill. Like, maybe you're working remotely. I guess you set up a hotspot, you can work remotely, and
That's
then
true.
you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
That, by the way, did you see the little Easter egg they had in the video? That because I saw I didn't notice it the first time, and if you go back and watch the video, there's words at the bottom right, and it's kind of it's faint. You can barely see it. So someone messed with the light balance and exposure and everything to where you could kind of read it a little bit better. And so it said it was on the Jaguars official video. So Jags Ken Knowledge was the one who posted this that I saw. And it said, if you're reading this, we just want to say thanks so much for being patient with us. We love you and can't wait to celebrate this season together. Go Jags. And it was just a little secret Easter egg at the bottom, which is really cool. But I think it also speaks volumes, the thank you for your patience. And we are not, we're excited for the season, but we're really ready to celebrate this season.
Yeah, and I think patience is far-reaching, right? It's not just about the throwbacks. Certainly fans have had to be patient for that, and celebrating the 30th year is an exciting thing, but I think it's also just patience in general. You've taken a lot of flack, Jags fans, and now you finally are on the other side where you have your franchise quarterback, you have your franchise edge rusher, if we call him that, Josh Hines-Allen, and you also are going to have the new stadium, so the whole London conversation is behind you. And so, yes, people made fun of your city for years because when the Super Bowl was here, some people had to stay on cruise ships. I personally think that sounds like fun. It sounds cooler than staying in a normal hotel room. But that's neither here nor there. And obviously, I'll always defend our city to anybody from the outside who thinks it sucks. But I just think that's, to me, what that means as far as patience is. You've had to deal with a lot, Jags fans. A lot of losing and certainly a lot of people making fun of you throughout the years.
And that's what I thought about that immediately when it came to the patience, but also the celebrate, because I think that, yes, you're celebrating a franchise quarterback. You're celebrating a new stadium coming to Jacksonville. You're celebrating in the face of all of these people like a Jason LaCanfora who said they were moving to London, and now you're celebrating your 30th season as an NFL franchise, one of the 32 that are privileged enough to have one of these. And so I think it was just two little sentences, but I think it means so much. And I love how they kind of hit it so that now it wasn't like this big in your face, here's what we feel. It was like a little secret, and it was fun.
Hey, RJ, can I call a little bit of an audible as Brett McMurphy, for those of you watching on the live stream, pops up behind me? Shout out to Action Network's McMurphy. Let's call a little bit of an audible, ladies. I have an idea, just because I'm looking at our MyBookie Digital Studio chat line right now, and I'm seeing Robert, I'm seeing G get in on the conversation about whose jersey they still have from the 90s, whose they want. Do we want to put it out into the ether? See what everyone, their first throwback jersey, or who they're going to get on the back of that throwback jersey that they purchased? What do we think about that?
I like it. Or do we want to ask who they already have or who they want to have?
Who are you going to buy? When those jerseys go on sale tomorrow at 9:04 a.m., whose throwback jersey? It can be a current player. I think you can still get former players. Not too sure. Again, I don't have a ton of details. You can, so you get a former player as well. Whose name are you getting on the back of your throwback jersey?
So again, the Miller Electric Pro Shop, 9:04 tomorrow is when it opens. It'll be open until 5 p.m. tomorrow, and also on Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So for people, if you do have to work tomorrow and maybe not Friday, you can certainly get out there that day as well. And let us know whose jersey you're going to be buying. I have a feeling that the guy who we've talked about the most on this program since it debuted in April as an everyday program is going to be Trevor Lawrence. That's my guess. Is the guy who we've talked about so much will also be the answer to the majority of people are buying. So that's why a lot of times if listeners always hear questions on the Superstation of other than Trevor Lawrence or other than Trevor and Josh Hines-Allen, and then ask the answer, it's because we know most of the time those are the answers to the questions.
Which, by the way, we obviously Jaguars Today will be out there tomorrow. They'll also be giving away a jersey. So if you show up, you have a chance to win a Trevor Lawrence throwback jersey. Well, I guess we can't say throwback yet because they haven't officially said it, but a Jaguars wink, wink jersey tomorrow.
Throwback, wink, wink. I love that. Mia, all right, so you are live in Dallas SEC Media Days. Like I said, Billy Napier for all the Florida fans, and even really people who aren't fans of Florida probably want to listen to that at 5 p.m. on the Frangie Show. Do you know if Graham Mertz, Shamar James, or Montrell Johnson will also be making their way down Radio Row?
Unclear as of this writing. From our contingent here from 1010XL, it sounds like there's optimism that we will be able to secure interviews with those folks. At the very least, I will get you content from the main media room with each of those three gentlemen, and so those will be posted to our 1010XL channels. Like I said, I think there's a good chance we get some of Mississippi State's contingent, including, it's so weird to say that they have a different quarterback who isn't Will Rogers, because I feel like he's been there forever. But Blake Shapen, one of those interviews that we're hoping to get at some point here in the afternoon, and so hopefully we'll be able to speak with him, but more importantly, hopefully we'll get to those Florida Gators as well.
Sounds good. Like I said, I know you guys are working hard on all of that. When we return, Frank and Matt caught up with Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of Missouri. Certainly high expectations for his team coming into the season. We'll let you hear that interview next on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
Want more Jags? Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. Looking for more in-depth coverage of the Gators? Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Need your FSU fix? Well, subscribe to the 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel. Your favorite team, one specific location.
If you want to go big, you got to get low with a low down payment and a low monthly payment during the Big One sales event at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and low payments mean big savings. And during the Big One sales event, you can buy a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $1,000 down and $288 per month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $1,000 down and $388 per month. But this is the big one, so there's even more ways to save, like more than 100 vehicles under $18K. Is that even possible? It is at Arlington Pre-Owned. Want big selection? Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned has over 400 used cars in stock. You even get Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your pre-owned purchase or exchange it. Don't wait. Shop the Big One sales event at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/offers for full details.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
This is Dr. George Barry, inviting you to look online at barryorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Barry Orthopedics, and online at barryorthopedics.com.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway at Pella Windows and Doors.
Ackerman Cancer Center's total body MRI is the latest technology in early detection. This comprehensive imaging goes beyond regular scans, providing a holistic view of your health in one 60-minute scan. Schedule your total body MRI at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The college football season has officially started. Live from SEC Media Days. Presented by Kanaya Water Jacksonville and Window World of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Mia O'Brien live in Dallas alongside Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes. And the two of them caught up with Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz. He returns a lot of talent on that offense, so certainly high expectations for the Missouri Tigers. Here is Eli with Frank and Matt.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate it. It's always good to be at SEC Media Days. Always good to be on y'all's show.
Well, we really appreciate that. And listen, congratulations on what you've built. And there were some doubters because it's such a good league. And from where you started, it's pretty amazing what you've built, a legitimate top 10 program. You ought to be proud. And I mean that very sincerely. What a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. And obviously, as the head coach, you get a ton of credit. But really, the credit doesn't belong to me at all. It really belongs to the players in that locker room, and it belongs to the assistant coaches who consistently believed in our message and went out there when it wasn't looking good. When recruits were saying no, and they kept going. They stuck to it. And I attribute a lot of our success to Ryan Russell, our Director of Athletic Performance, because he is consistent every day in the message he preaches, and he's gotten that first floor, I call them the first floor generals, Mike Kurowski, our Director of Equipment, Liz Stewart, our Director of Nutrition, Zach Parker, our Director of Athletic Training, and Ryan Russell, our Director of Athletic Performance. Those guys have so much impact on our team, and they reflect the mission of our core values every day, and so they're really ones to be praised, not me.
Matt Hayes, Frank Frangie here with Mizzou coach Eli Drinkwitz. Mizzou, Eli, you've been adamant about Mizzou being a place that can win big.
Yeah.
For years. Mm-hmm. When did it turn, you think, last year? When did you think, okay, we got this thing now, we've got a chance?
Honestly, I kind of saw it in the first two games. Like, even though we didn't play particularly well and the scoreboard didn't reflect it, I saw in the fourth quarter of that Middle Tennessee game a team that played together, a team that just missed a few opportunities, but offensively sustained drives, defensively got the ball back for us, special teams made a good play. And I felt like that was the recipe for success, at least the successes that I've been a part of. And we kind of put it all together versus K-State. I mean, there were 6-7 lead changes in that game, a team that refused to quit.
Fun game, yeah.
Fun game. Yeah. And then obviously we make Harrison Mevis makes a 61-yard field goal that is just remarkable. But that's what happens. Like, special moments are born from special opportunities. You know, as Herb Brooks said in 1980 Miracle, that's what happened in that game. There was a lot of special things that occurred, and now a elite player made an elite play.
And I will tell you, when people watch Mizzou football, you might have the best receiver in the country. You've got a really good veteran quarterback coming back. I mean, there's special players in your program, aren't there?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that makes us different than maybe in the past is you've seen teams in college football have a one good year, and then it takes them 4 years to rebuild it. We're layered right now competitively from a talent standpoint where, you know, we tied the record for most draft picks in Mizzou history, and honestly, I would expect that we will be at that same number this year. I think we have a talented roster that has NFL players riddled throughout, and I think it'll be the same way next year. You know, you're talking about Caden Green, Brett Norfleet, Marquise Johnson, Josh Manning, Chris McClellan. I mean, there's a lot of really good, Marvin Burks, really good young, Dalen Carnell, young, talented players that it's just going to be their time to shine.
It's remarkable what's happened, man, in the last couple of years. I think another remarkable thing that people kind of overlook, we talked about Carson Beck waiting his time.
Yeah.
Brady Cook, man, you tried to find someone else.
I was.
And he just kept coming back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Talk about that story now. He's kind of like a microcosm of what you've done there.
Yeah, we define grit as a stubborn refusal to quit. Right. And that's kind of Brady Cook's story. Like, he's just one of those guys that you're always like, get somebody else in there. And no, it's Brady's in there. And then once he's in there, he just consistently makes plays and does the little things really well. Yeah, we had a saying this spring, little by little, little becomes a lot. And that really defines Brady Cook. Little by little, he just worked every single day to improve his technique, his fundamentals, his mental understanding of the game. He's a very smart football player. Our challenge now is to make sure he's not a celebrity quarterback. And we just need a battlefield commander. And we don't need him to be the next Greg McElroy and being all over, you know, TV shows and all that. We just need him to consistently be a good player.
You know what's funny? Somebody asked me about him. So, what do you think of Brady Cook? I said, you know what? When it's 3rd and 3, he's going to find a way to get those 3 yards.
Yeah, he is.
Whether it's throwing the ball or running it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. He's remarkably athletic. He runs the football really well. He's tough as nails, but he's developed a consistency in how he throws the football that's made him an elite player.
Eli, final thing for you here. The world of college football's changed so much. We all know that. The league and the portal and now the 12-team playoff. Do you like where we are, and does it fit what you're trying to do at Missouri?
We are where we're at, and I have no control over what it is or what it will be. My job is to deliver a great product to the fans and to the administration that pays me. And so my job is to be very, very adaptable. What are the rules in place, and how do we utilize those rules to help us have a successful football program? And that's really my job. And I got one of the best jobs in the world, man. The opportunities that are afforded to me and my family because of what I get blessed to do, I got no complaints. Are there things that will ultimately change? Yeah. Do I think they'll be for the better? I don't know. But whatever it will be, we'll make the best of it.
You're a neat guy. You've done a great job there. Congratulations. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate that.
MIZ.
And there you go. Eli Drinkwitz, head coach of Missouri. And certainly we know, Taylor, that Missouri has to replace Javon Foster because he's now here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because you mentioned right before we went to that interview about how much of the offensive talent they are bringing back, but it's opposite on the defensive side of the ball. So because 2 corners that I wanted, honestly, here, Ennis Rakestraw and Chris Abrams-Drain, both gone too. Jalen Carlisle's gone. Tyron Hopper gone. They lost a lot of talent when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And so how do they rebuild that, and how quickly? Like he just said in that interview, there's teams that win a season and then it takes them another 4 years to rebuild this back. Are they back to that? Are they to that level now where the consistency can be competing? And when you're losing guys to the draft, which you want to, that's your goal. You want to be able to recruit or even maybe sometimes get out of these guys out of the portal, but then develop and see them getting drafted into the NFL. So you want that goal, but at the same time, that obviously is taking some of the biggest talent. And when you're losing both of your cornerbacks in one season, it's going to be really interesting how they rebuild this defense and how quickly they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you look at the depth chart, there are certainly a lot of transfers on that side of the ball, like you talked about defensively, because they do have to replace some guys that were incredibly talented. And certainly Tyron Hopper's a guy that started at Florida, transferred to Missouri. And so we'll see what he does in the future. All right, switching from college football to a tangent from Taylor Dahl.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
All right, I'm going to go into what the All-Star Weekend and Major League Baseball looked like. We didn't talk, I don't think, about it at all yesterday when it came to the Home Run Derby. Obviously, I think the big storyline, which is probably sad, that one of the biggest storylines coming out of the Home Run Derby was that the Ingrid singing the national anthem ended up coming out, and she said she was drunk, and that's why she sounded terrible.
I feel bad for her.
I did too, and I knew who she was, obviously, previously. I don't know how many people did, and I was confused because I was like, she's very talented. Like, she's a really, really highly renowned writer. She writes music, produces music, she sings. Like, if you know her, like, she's very talented musically. So I was so confused. I was like, is her ear not working? Because sometimes if you can't hear yourself, it messes you all up. So I was like, can she not hear herself? What is going on? And so, but that was the big talk out of it. But to me, and then last night, and then let's just go back. So the Home Run Derby, I didn't like the new format. The main thing they changed was that first round. It used to be obviously like head-to-head, two people head-to-head, and then the winner of those would go, and then the winner of those would go. And I liked that format so much better. I think it added a little bit more fireness rather. And you also know, like, that second person knew what they had to hit. So batter one comes up and hits 21. That second person knew that they're going to have to hit 22 to win. It's just kind of like hit as many as you can, and we'll see at the end if you're good or not. And so I don't like that aspect of it. I also wish they would just let people wear their jerseys. The jerseys were terrible. It's been a talk for a long time. It looks like it's like a rec league softball, like a beer league jerseys. Let us wear it. It's kind of fun. Like, let us see that, this is a Braves player, this is a Cubs player, and I know they have them on the hats, but we love our jerseys. We love the whole point of this is to represent your team. And so I think that I don't like that aspect of it. I think that the game itself, it wasn't a bad game. You saw, you saw an Ohtani home run. You saw skins start with, pretty hot. So you saw pieces of what you wanted, but I just feel like it doesn't have the flavor that it used to have. And I think I'm part of that. The same when you go through some of the other All-Star weeks now and almost everything, they've all been kind of watered down. And I think in part that it's because they don't want players to get hurt, so they kind of, everything is a little bit of a softer version of whatever sport they're playing. And that's all of them. That's NHL, that's NBA, that's Major League Baseball, and that's NFL. The NFL is just like games now. And so I feel like it's going to get to a point where you either have to be like, this is what it used to, let's just not have this guy break, or find a way to make it competitive and want people to watch, because it's just not what it used to be to me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Home Run Derby. I agree with you. I like the other format. Although if you have two guys that should be kind of in the finals go up against each other early on, then you might miss out on one of them. And I like the fact that the pitch count. So guys, some of them had pitches left in that first round, and then the timed round after that. So I thought it was going to be at least more fun to me than the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And even though it's competitive, to your point, they don't care nearly as much as they once did. And I enjoy when it's just more skills.
Yeah, and to me, the Home Run Derby, I used to be obsessed with the Home Run Derby, and I just haven't the last few years in general. I think this year to me really, I turned it on and honestly found myself making a snack in the kitchen, and I used to not be like that. And it was that first round mainly. The rest was similar to what it used to be, but in my head, like for example, Alonso had 12. If they would have matched him up with Brom, it would have been 12-11, and so it would have been at least like, okay, can he hit one more to get to that 12? That adds a whole other level that's then like, okay, you have 11, like not making it. Like there's no question because your opponent is going to four other people are hitting more than that.
What was the snack?
Probably popcorn. That's usually what I'm making. It's usually either string cheese or popcorn or some sort of chip is what I'm munching on during that time. But yeah, so I just feel like it's time to fix the All-Star games in general. And I was reading something earlier actually about The Athletic wrote it and was like, which of are all All-Star games booked? Like, are we to this point where just nobody really wants to watch them anymore? And this is what they said. NBA, barely even glorified practice. NFL, Pro Bowl is still a thing, question mark. But no one cares, and the jerseys are terrible. NHL, it's literally just the skills competition that people like.
Yeah, I do think they're correct. Yeah. Nobody cares at this point. Just give us the real competition or nothing else. I did see, speaking of the All-Star game, I did see that some of the people from SEC Network, including former, not Heel again, I should say, but former Heel's co-host Alyssa Lang, she got to, did you go?
No, because I was flying out and I was still in Jacksonville with you, unfortunately.
No, the All-Star game last night.
Oh, for the All-Star game, no. Sorry, I thought you were still talking about the Derby. No, I want to go to the Derby, quite frankly. Like, nothing against the All-Star game. It would have been cool to go. But no, we're saving our pennies and dollars for this evening, for the main event. The Indiana Fever visiting the Dallas Wings during SEC Media Days and MLB All-Star Week. And so, unfortunately, just given the nature of the fact that game has not been moved to American Airlines Arena, it is still being played out in or I should say at College Park Center, which is on the campus of UT Arlington. Limited amount of tickets, so I was hoping, I'd have a little bit of sway there. Still going to get into the game, don't worry. But, ultimately said, you know what, let's experience Dallas last night, and tonight focus on the sporting event. So it's unfortunately missed out on it, but I have good news, Lauren and Taylor, which is next year, SEC Media Days will be in Atlanta, and guess where the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby will be?
Atlanta.
Exactly. So hopefully the scheduling works out again. It has the better part of the last 10 to 12 years from my going through records. So pretty optimistic that next year, especially because Atlanta obviously is a drive and not a flight, that we would be able to make that Derby wish come true.
All right, now we've got lunch with ladies, Taylor.
Yeah, lunch on us today. Chick-fil-A, 2 Chick-fil-A gift cards, so you can go enjoy lunch on us. Let's say caller number 364-1 and 10.
When we return, we'll get to our biggest NFL storylines leading into the 2024 season. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 92.5 FM.
It's Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. From the Buckman to the beaches and every suburb the St. Johns River reaches.
It feels phenomenal.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally, hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips. Tips and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
It's Hacker here, checking in from the sunny Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, that's right. I'm down here living the dream with a margarita in one hand and some seafood in the other. And let me tell you, I'm not stressing one bit about gaining any of my 80 pounds back this week. You know the reason? No, it's Awaken 180 weight loss. My metabolism is on fire. I'm burning off calories as fast as I can put them down. I know the 80 pounds is one measurement, but how about this one? I'm now wearing a size 38 pants. That's down from a 46. 8 inches off my waist. Think about that. 8 inches gone in just 4 months. That's absolutely incredible. That's Awaken 180. My confidence is through the roof. I'm even strutting around the beach down here with the shirt off, feeling like a brand new man. It's all about the Awaken 180 magic. If you're ready to make a change, take it from all of us. Awaken 180 is the real deal. Book your summer consult today at awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade. Perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A, or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season when you're with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle. Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 17, 1936, New York Giants future Hall of Fame pitcher Carl Hubble began his MLB record 24-game winning streak, beating the Pittsburgh Pirates 6-0.
Hey folks, Curtis Dvorak here. Are you a golfer, pickleball player, or a concert lover? Well, if you said yes to any of those, join me for the first ever Patriot Games on Saturday, September 21st at the Yards in Ponte Vedra. All proceeds benefit Operation New Uniform, which is a transition training program for service members, veterans, and military spouses. For more information, visit onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org. Hope to see you there.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you feeling the heat? It's time to cool things down with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Contact us today at 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning to keep you cool and comfortable all year round.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's where football season starts. SEC Media Days, presented by Southern Steer Butcher and Underwood Jewelers on 1010XL. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks here at 1010XL headquarters. Mia O'Brien live in Dallas for SEC Media Days. Talking all sorts of football this week, college and NFL. So let's get it to the NFL. Our biggest storylines when it comes to the 2024 season. Taylor and Mia, I'll give you my first one, and that is going to be very close to the Jags' heart and soul, but not here in Jacksonville. Can C.J. Stroud be as good in his second season as he was in his rookie season? And just how good are the Texans? To me, that is a massive storyline, even beyond the AFC South, because people have propped up this team, and they love DeMeco Ryans, and they love Danielle Hunter, the new additions, and Stephon Diggs, and they already loved the rookies and Stroud and Will Anderson. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, like this team everyone has on this high trajectory. So can CJ Stroud, it obviously a lot of it comes down to his play. Can he be as good in his sophomore season as he was in his rookie season? Taylor, what's your first one?
Yeah, my first one is going to be an NFL-wide one, and I was just talking to you about this on break of one of the things that I'm most interested in, and it's the new kickoff rule. I think it's so fascinating because it's just changing so many factors, not only what teams are going to do when it comes to the kick returners. Are they going to have one down there? Are they going to have two down there? How quickly are certain teams able to succeed in the new kickoff rule? How much does it add to kickoffs? We've seen it in the XFL and what it's done. It added a ton of more scoring here and there, but a lot more yardage when it comes to the kickoffs. And then on the other side of it, what does that mean for punters and kickers? Are certain punters going to start doing kickoffs because they have a stronger leg or they're a bigger body, which a lot of people say you may need? Does that affect here? We can tie that to the Jags too, because Cam Little's a smaller guy. So there's a lot of factors that I think are going into what this may look like, and then also what teams do. Obviously, the team that is kicking off, what they do up front and how they start to defend this and how quickly teams really learn it. And that's why I think it's just going to be fascinating to watch this play out and which teams are able to take grasp on this new rule the quickest.
Cam Little's a little guy. I see what you did there, Taylor. I was going to be boring. I was going to say Aaron Rodgers' return. I was going to say the Dallas Cowboys, can they finally break through? Or in Mike McCarthy's lame dunk year, does everything go to heck in a handbasket real quick? But I'm actually going to throw a curveball and bring it even closer to home, ladies. Let's take Lauren's storyline of C.J. Stroud. Can he repeat or exceed what he did last year? And couple that with Caleb Williams and the high expectations for the Chicago Bears. So many people expect another generational quarterback, since Caleb is probably the closest thing to Trevor Lawrence in terms of being labeled that since his time in college, if not his time in high school at Gonzaga in the DMV, or I should say the DC area. Can Caleb Williams do what C.J. Stroud did last year, especially given he has so many more established names surrounding him at the skill player position in Chicago? I think that will be one to watch, because if he doesn't perform up to those expectations, even if he plays head and shoulders above what a normal rookie does, but it's not at Stroud level, I think the criticism will come fast and furious in Chicago, which is sad because, if it leads to wins, maybe that gets covered up. But I still think even if Caleb Williams, let's say, for example, we turn the page, it's November, and the Bears are 5-2, right? But Caleb Williams has, 11 touchdowns to 5 or 6 picks. People will still criticize him. It doesn't matter that the Chicago Bears, Taylor, would have 5 wins. It would be, why isn't he doing what C.J. Stroud did?
Yeah, and I think it'll be an interesting thing in general. I do think national media and outside of Chicago will have a different perspective on it. I do think Chicago fans in general will be a little more patient with it because we've seen just other disasters, and also for him to pass the rookie QB record in Chicago, he only has to throw like 12 touchdowns. So the expectations are not as high, I think, personally, in Chicago right away. Like, obviously, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, they should win 12, 13 games. They're in a really difficult division. So Bears fans are being realistic and being like, this is a rookie quarterback. They're almost an all-new offense because Keenan Allen's new, Gerald Everett's new, Shane Waldron's new, Rome Odunze's new. There's a lot of new pieces on this offense, and are you expecting it to click in the first 1-2 weeks? Like, it doesn't happen like it does in Houston normally. So I do think expectations are a little pushed down in Chicago compared to nationally of what they're expecting in Chicago. But I think the rookie quarterback situation in general, to me, is a big storyline. Like, which one of these do look the best and the quickest, and which ones fit into their offense and with their offensive coordinator the fastest. And then when you look at a Jordan Love, if we're talking about C.J. Stroud's season and what he does in this next year, I know Jordan Love's beyond year 2, but he's in his second year starting, and he's in contract talks. So that, to me, is a fascinating story of how much and when do the Packers pay him, and what does Jordan look like right out the gates this season, because we saw his the slow start last year, but the way it ended was fantastic.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those storylines that we've already discussed, so I wasn't even going to get into them. You alluded to Aaron Rodgers. We've talked about him. We've talked about the 3 different quarterbacks that would like to have their contracts extended. One is Jordan Love, like you just mentioned. One is Dak Prescott with the Cowboys, and certainly Tua Tagovailoa down in Miami. We've talked about, can the Chiefs win the Super Bowl for the third straight time, and they'd be the first team to ever win the Super Bowl 3 straight years. The Packers did win the NFL championship and then win 2 Super Bowls all in 3 consecutive seasons, but not the technical Super Bowl for 3 seasons straight. But to me, the other NFL storylines is certainly what I wanted to get into here. And you guys have thought of ones that I wouldn't necessarily have thought of. To me, another one is going to be what happens in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix obviously drafted high, but can Kirk Cousins actually unleash those incredible weapons that they have? Does Kyle Pitts become one of the best tight ends because they have a better quarterback than they've had? And Bijan Robinson, does he get unleashed? Like, that is going to be fascinating to watch because of all the turnover there.
Yeah, well, and also Michael Penix. Like, if things aren't going well, how quickly or if they turn to Michael Penix. I think that offensively they have a ton of weapons, and one I keep forgetting about that I absolutely love is Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's fantastic, and he's one of those guys that are really underappreciated, I think, in the league because he's had 7 quarterbacks in his time in Chicago, and it's just been such a disaster, but he's still been able to produce in moments. People kind of expected the development to continue and shoot up after a couple years ago, and it ended up not happening. So we'll see. But I think that Atlanta in general is fascinating, and I think that because of what they did with Kirk and Michael Penix, that puts just kind of like a target on their backs of what that looks like offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Mia, what's another one for you?
Another team that I'm very curious, can they defy expectations? Will they not reach the lofty levels of success they had a year ago? The Detroit Lions, I think they are one of the most fascinating teams in the National Football League right now. I would say they are the Texans of the NFC. They are the darling. And in a weird alternate universe, the Jaguars defeat the Titans Week 18 last year. The Jags go to the postseason. Maybe they're one and done. I don't know. Maybe they go all the way to the AFC Championship game. But the Houston Texans are left out of the dance, akin to the Detroit Lions 1 year earlier when, even though they beat Aaron Rodgers in his finale at Lambeau Field, they were left out of the postseason on the NFC side back in 2022. And so in an alternate universe, they literally follow this parallel train of sorts. I'm curious, though, what the next step is for the Lions. Can they get past that NFC Championship game, or do things not go accordingly? Do things, because of how difficult that division is, Taylor, do they take a step back? And I think that's going to be one to watch because they are definitely the darling of the NFC right now.
Yeah, I think the Lions have a really, really good team, and they've only gotten better, in my opinion. My question is, how much of the quirkiness, crazy chances going for it on 4th down constantly, does that catch up with Dan Campbell? Because there was a lot of moments where it worked and these miraculous things happened, but we saw here in Jacksonville that the balls don't always bounce your way. Things that maybe went perfectly for you in one season, when it comes to health and when it comes to just all of the situations that you need to kind of lay out a path for success, have gone right. And it did that, like to your point, Mia, it did that for the Jags in 2022, and then it didn't in 2023. Injuries plagued them. The Lions, I feel like you could have a similar storyline of they were very, very healthy last year. They didn't deal with a ton of injuries. Everything that could have happened perfectly, all these crazy chances that Dan Campbell took, all worked in their favor. And does that catch up with them, especially, like you said, in a division that is getting only more competitive? I think another one for me, too, and this is another team that I just think has a lot of question marks, but also they traded a first-round pick for a coach, and that's Denver. Sean Payton, I think, has a lot to prove this season, and Sean Payton was talked about for a long time as one of the best coaches in the NFL, and then what it's kind of looked like with him so far is disappointing for a lot of people. And they go and draft Bo Nix, that technically on their depth chart it still has Jarrett Stidham as their starting quarterback. We'll see how that looks, but what the Denver Broncos are able to do, and hopefully for them quickly, is going to be such a storyline, because I think a lot of pressure's on Sean Payton.
Let me ask you ladies this. Since you brought up the Denver Broncos, Taylor, and I've been in the game of listening to Mina Kimes' Power Hours during my travels over the last week or so between North Carolina and here in Dallas. Who's the worst team, not named the Carolina Panthers, in your opinion, by season's end in the NFL in 2024, so I guess January of 2025?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I'm just scrolling through to see if anyone really pops out. But I think that, Denver may be in that conversation if you're just looking on paper of what their roster looks like. Because, maybe the Saints, if that's another one to me.
Those are the two that I think are most fascinating because they're very much in a sliding doors moment of sorts where, I could see the Saints continuing to being mired in mediocrity with Derek Carr just because he'll get you to 5 or 6 wins. But after that, what else do you really have in the arsenal?
Yeah.
And the Denver Broncos are fascinating because they've been consistently ranked among the top offensive lines that I've seen this offseason. They paid Quinn Miners yesterday, and so they're all in on the guys they have up front. And yet the question remains of who will their quarterback be? And if it is Bo Nix, their first-round rookie, which at some point in time I think he's going to play, whether that's week 1 or week 7 or week 17, he's going to play at some point this year. Do we truly believe in the Sean Payton magic striking lightning once again and that it's going to work out and everything will be hunky-dory? Or do they take a step back and say, you know what, we need to rebuild this entire thing around Bo Nix, and you know what, maybe tanking isn't the worst thing in the world? Another team I'll throw your way, the New York Giants.
Yeah, I was about to say them too.
Yeah, the power rankings have not been kind that I've watched and read and listened to, and in my personal power rankings as well, just because of the quarterback situation in New York, the fact that we've seen now through HBO's Hard Knocks off season, Joe Shane not exactly with a booming vote of confidence for his quarterback and Daniel Jones coming off that ACL tear, not to mention how they addressed the loss of Saquon Barkley at the running back position, I think Devin Singletary's a capable back, but at the end of the day, when they made the playoffs in 2022, that offense ran through Saquon, and they don't have Saquon anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's a major hit, you not having Saquon Barkley. And I know that they've all made comments this year that you don't want to have to run your entire offense through a running back. But that was what has kind of kept you afloat with Daniel Jones as quarterback. I think a lot of people are not very high on Daniel Jones at this point. A couple seasons ago is completely different. So which Daniel Jones do we get? But I still think in that season when people were really highly talking about him, it was because he had Saquon to take so much pressure off of what he had to do. And the two big moves they made this season, and Malik Neighbors, who, a lot of people, obviously his second wide receiver off the board, a lot of people super high on Malik Neighbors, but that wide receiver room after that is kind of mid. And then the other one is Brian Burns, and Brian Burns has been kind of on what seems like what we talked about, one of the best for a long time, didn't have that season last year. So which Brian Burns are you getting to? Because those are their two main their two main offseason moves that they're banking on being big factors into wins this season.
Yeah, the Patriots, we would be remiss if we did not throw them in the conversation as well. You can look at mock drafts and they're picking first or second, certainly up there, like we said, with the Panthers as well. All right, when we return, we will make our picks for the Open Championship, the 152nd edition of the Open Championship. Used to be called the British Open for people who are like, what is the Open Championship? But it is the final major of the year. We will make our picks. RJ, I hope you're ready. Taylor's here. She's ready. Mia, you're ready, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm firing up the MyBookie odds right now, so we'll be ready to rumble.
Sounds good. We will do that when we return on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Start sequence 1.
This is Mayflower 1 calling mission control. Do you read me? Over.
This is mission control. Identify yourself and give me a position.
Jacksonville Sports Radio. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
I'm Patrick Young, inviting you to the Florida SBDC's Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. If you're ready to learn, network, and be inspired, I'll be delivering a keynote message you won't want to miss. Secure your spot today by registering at floridasbdc.org. Hey, there's no time to waste. Right now is the right time. I hope to see you at the Small Business Success Summit in August.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on our versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. Our professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance as well. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 31st, 2024.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just 1 visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just 1 visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. In Dallas at SEC Media Days, Jacksonville native and Georgia quarterback Carson Beck met with the media on how he knew he would return to the Bulldogs for another season after their loss to Alabama.
The reason for staying, but more about like the hardest part of me leaving would be leaving the locker room that we have and leaving the teammates and the connection that, you know, we've all built. That's probably the hardest part because it's a lot different once you go to the next level. It's not like college. And talking to guys that have been through it, there's so many different guys that you can conversate with, and they're all just like enjoy it like while you're here because it's different once you get up there. And then obviously the way the season ended last year, everybody always asks me like how difficult of a decision was it, and I tell them it was easy. But the second that we lost to Alabama, I knew that I was coming back.
It's 92 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Kicking off another college football season. It's SEC Media Days. Presented by Window World of Northeast Florida and Kanaya Water Jacksonville on 1010XL.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien is live in Dallas for SEC Media Days. Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. We are live in Jacksonville, Florida, talking some golf. All right, RJ, you lost our first go-round of majors, and you had to wear a Celtics hat. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, pretty irritated, agitated.
Okay, so how much have you prepared for today's selection for the 2024 Open Championship?
One takeaway one.
All right, so last time we did youngest goes first, oldest goes last. So we started with RJ, then Mia, then Taylor, then myself. So now we're going to reverse it. I'll go first, then Taylor second, Mia third. RJ, you will have the fourth selection, just so you know. So I'll kick things off. I will say Xander Schauffele, who has never missed a cut at the Open Championship, will be my pick. And I'm excited to see what he can do. 4 of his 6 Open finishes have been inside the top 20. So Xander certainly likes this course in Royal Troon in Scotland. Taylor Dahl, you're up next.
All right, I'm going to, my list. I should go to one of these other, but I'm going to go a little off course here.
Oh.
And I'm going to say Tony Finau.
Okay. I like that pick.
As I was doing my research, there was a lot of things that stuck out to me with Finau. I feel like his game in general kind of fits the bill of what the British Open is. I also do feel like a lot of times it's the older guys win the British Open. So also summer for him has been really good so far. He hasn't finished worse than T18 since May. So it's been a really good summer so far. He was like third back in the Open in 2019. He's finished in the top 20 in each of his last 5 tournaments. And like I said, kind of low key has been an Open player. So I'm going Finau.
So you, I'm guessing, thought about Scheffler?
I didn't actually. He's not even on my
list.
list.
No, that's not the rules, Lauren. The rules is anybody but Scheffler.
He was not on my list.
But okay, he wasn't on your list either way. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. That is our rule. No, you can't pick Scheffler.
Anybody but Scheffler.
Yeah, and if that golfer, the hottest golfer in the world, changes at some point, then we'll do anybody but that person. We would have done anybody but Tiger a long time ago.
If our picks somehow are the reason that Scotty Scheffler gets off track of eclipsing Tiger Woods' single-season win mark, then sorry, Scotty, that's on us.
That's true. All right, Mia, you're up next.
Oh, by the way, Scotty Scheffler is plus 500. Those are the best odds on my bookie to win the Open Championship at Royal Troon this weekend. First time Royal Troon has hosted since 2016. Henrik Stenson, the Swede, was the winner at that one. Guess what, ladies? For the second consecutive major, I'm going with Ludvig Åberg. We're sticking with the Swedes. Back-to-back the Open Championship winners at Royal Troon will be Swedes. We've seen Ludvig on an absolute tear ever since that U.S. Open back at Pinehurst #2. Obviously, he did not win there, but I do believe that he will, at the very least, finish among the top 5 this weekend.
So the first 3 off the board do not include Rory McIlroy. Does RJ Saunders go with the Irishman? RJ?
Who did I choose last time?
I think you did Morikawa.
You did, yeah. Colin Morikawa.
Forget that guy. He's a total jerk.
I think he's one of the nicest on tour.
Yeah. He's just some total Yeah, he's not a good person.
He's a SoCal guy, RJ. How does that make you feel? He
Mac.
betrayed
Give me
you.
Rory McIlroy.
I wondered, by the way, if anyone was going to go with the most recent winner, who is from Scotland, and Robert McIntyre, but nope. Rory McIlroy is RJ's selection. So to review, I have Xander Schauffele, Taylor has Tony Finau, Mia has Ludwig Ober, and RJ has Rory McIlroy. How do y'all feel about your selections?
I like mine. Nobody even took any of the ones that I had on my whole list. Because it was literally, I was trying to go between Finau, Morikawa, Fleetwood, and Hatton were my 4 that I was trying to decide. And I was like, one of those will be taken, and they weren't. So I had all my choices.
Let me run through our MyBookie odds for each of our selections. So we mentioned Scotty Scheffler, the best odds to win the Open Championship this weekend at plus 500. Rory McIlroy, RJ's pick, the second best odds at plus 750. Xander Schauffele, Lauren's pick at plus 1,200. Ludwig Oberg, plus 1,400, the fourth best odds. Tony Finau, honestly, Taylor, if you're going to pick a long shot, I kind of love this number. He's plus 3,500, which is slightly different odds than Robert McIntyre, who's plus 3,000. So I like the Finau pick. If you're going to pick a long shot, we know his iron game has looked sharp. We know he was right there over the weekend at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst number 2. I do like that pick a lot.
All right.
Well, thank you. I worked hard on it.
We will start watching tomorrow. I don't know. What is the first tee time tomorrow? Does anyone know?
I do not know.
Well, what time is it Eastern versus Central, Lauren?
more
Now
Eastern.
I'm already trying to cope with going back to Central time and Eastern time. And I can't throw this now into the mix. I'm really not going to know what day of the week it is.
Also true. Yeah, well, tomorrow is Thursday.
Yeah.
And
Tomorrow is Thursday.
What I can tell is these are in Eastern, so the first tee time is 1:35 a.m. 1:35 a.m.
I will not see that.
Yikes.
Rory tees off at 5:09
a.m.
a.m.
5:09?
5:09 a.m. Tony Finau, 4:25 a.m. So you'll be waking up around
awesome.
the time that he's finishing. Now, Tiger Woods, who plays with Xander Schauffele, my guy, and Patrick Cantlay, is at 9:37 a.m.
Smart marketing there. Well done.
Yeah, and Ludwig is at 4:47 a.m. He tees off alongside Bryson DeChambeau and Tom Kim. All right, when we come back, the crew there in Dallas is efforting for Jeff Levy, the head coach of Mississippi State. So we'll step aside and hopefully have him on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Come aboard the Frangie Express.
Pedal to the metal right now. Pedal to the metal. All right, let's go.
Frank Frangie.
One with a golden touch.
And Hayes Carline.
So you're the top dog around here.
They are the Frangie Show. Afternoons on 1010XL.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
By now, we all know the phrase, go big or go home, right? Well, my friends at Arlington Toyota are taking that phrase to heart with the Big One sales event. Yep, it's back and going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia, here and during the Big One sales event, you're going to save so big, you'll be driving a brand new Toyota home in no time. And Arlington has over 400 new Toyotas available. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and family vans. Guess you could say you're going big and going home in style. Plus, with every new purchase at Arlington, you get their lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. And Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. So if you're wondering if now's the time to buy, let me put it this way. This is a sale so big it can only go by one name, the Big One sales event. So yeah, I say go big and save big at Arlington Toyota today. But don't wait, a sale this big won't last long. Stop by and shop today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Hey, poker players! The Card Player Poker Tour is heading back to Best Bet Jacksonville from August 15th to the 26th. The tournament schedule is packed with excitement, featuring 9 events, including the $1,700 No Limit Hold'em Mystery Bounty main event with a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool. Head to bestbetjacks.com for the full schedule and satellite information. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI defense firm.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Bringing the players and coaches of the SEC to you. SEC Media Days. Presented by Southern Steer Butcher and Underwood Jewelers on 1010XL.
While we are on standby for Mississippi State head coach Jeff Lebby, an honor to be joined by his quarterback, Blake Shapen, now here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Blake, I saw you this morning at long last. Thank you for sitting down with 1010XL.
Thank you all for having me.
You were just telling Matt off camera that today is, in a word,
long.
Well said, Blake.
Long day.
Well said.
Crazy.
What's the craziest question you've been asked so far at your first SEC Media Days?
I haven't got too many crazy ones. I think earlier they were talking about the 12-team playoff, and then they're talking about I've been asked so many things that I can't even think right now, to be honest.
All right, so let's just go to ball. It's the easiest thing to talk about. So you left Baylor, you got in the portal. You know what Jeff did at UCF as the OC under Josh. You know what he did at Ole Miss. You know how he develops quarterbacks. Was it an easy decision to say, all right, this is where I'm heading? This is the guy that's right for me?
Yeah, for sure. There was no doubt in my mind that whenever he called my phone that was the place I wanted to go, Mississippi State. I knew getting into the portal there were things that I wanted and that I needed to fulfill my dream. And Coach Lebby, he's an offensive-minded guy. He runs a fast-tempo offense. It's a dream for every quarterback to play in that offense. And so for me to be a part of it, it was a no-brainer.
With that said, new head coach, the age of the transfer portal, does it feel like this roster is starting from ground zero and he is building this roster in his image?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like half of our team's new, and you got new coaches and, quarterback's new. Everything about it is new, and it's our first time going through it together. So, that's why when I first got here, is big on building relationships with these guys and building, a relationship that not only matters on the field but matters off the field too.
Now, you had success at Baylor, obviously, both as a player and the team. You're in a clearly a more difficult league right now. How do you make that adjustment from that league to a league where you're literally in a white-knuckle fistfight week after week?
Right. I think for me it's taking the knowledge and the experience that I've had, from the previous years moving forward. It's big for me having, 2.5 years under my belt of starting playing in college football. Obviously, I'm in the SEC now. It's a little bit different. It's a dogfight every single week. So for us just to take it week by week and not think too far ahead is going to be, key for us.
Blake Shapen, the quarterback in Mississippi State, joining us on Helmets and Heels live from SEC Media Days. Blake, when it comes to expectations, building off of what you just said, you're taking it week by week. Does it feel like everyone is talking about Alabama? They're talking about Georgia. They're not talking about Mississippi State. You're nodding as I say this, because emotionally, what does that do to the competitor inside of you?
At the end of the day, that's what they're talking. They're not talking about us. They're not talking about what Mississippi State's going to be like this year. And if I would be lying if I said that wasn't a conversation in our locker room every single day. That's something that I think about all the time, and it drives me. It fuels us. At the end of the day, you can use that as fuel, and we use that as fuel. That everybody's talking about, everybody else in the SEC, not really talking about us. So we'll fly under the radar, and then, we'll compete each and every week.
You flew under the radar at Baylor too, man.
No doubt. The year before we were 2-7 before that year.
Yeah. So it's you're used to it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it happen before. I've been on both sides of it. I've been on a team that was talked about every single year, and then not living up to those expectations. But I've also been on a team that was 2-7 in the COVID year and came back the next year and won a Big 12 championship in Sugar Bowl.
Have you used that in talking with your teammates and kind of as your leadership role?
So for me, for talking to my teammates, I don't talk about the Big 12 championship much. I don't talk about, what I've done. You'd be surprised. There's probably a lot of guys on our team that have no idea what I've done.
Right.
And seriously. And I don't plan on going up to them and just telling them that because, they don't care. They really don't care. And so for me,
you're like an older brother to them, right?
Yeah. I'm older than them, and I feel like I can be used as a mentor in a way in some ways. Not like a mentor, but just someone they can
big brother.
Yeah, like a big brother they can talk to if they have any questions or things like that.
Walk us through. Introduce us to this roster. Why should people be counting Mississippi State in 2024?
I think we got so many pieces, to the puzzle that are great pieces, and I feel like we got great receivers: Kelly Akari, Jordan Mosley, Kevin Coleman, Mario Craver, Stonka Burns. The list can go on because we got a good group of older guys. We got a good group of younger guys. Also, on the offensive line, we brought in new guys too. And those guys up front are going to be the key to our success. We're going to have to run the football and things like that, and we need those guys. And they've been great. They're great dudes. I love hanging around them. They're goofy, but I love being around them, and I've built a good relationship with all of them.
All right, now we're in NFL town, obviously, with the Jaguars. I've seen your name pop up on some draft lists. This offense is perfect for you, man. This gives you the ability to put out tape, right? This is a prime opportunity for you, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, there were things before I got in the portal that I knew, why am I getting in the portal, and why do I want to leave? And they had to be legit reasons, and I want to play in the NFL one day, and obviously that's a dream of mine, and I feel like there was no better fit to be playing with Coach Levy and under him and taking all the knowledge I can from him.
Blake Shapen, the quarterback of Mississippi State, wrapping up with him here on Helmets and Heels. And as we do so, Blake, we will be saying hello to Coach Levy here momentarily.
All right.
Give us your best Coach Levy story. What's one quirky thing about him we got to ask him about?
Ask him what he says before we go routes on air. He'll go, routes on air, let's go. And he jogs off like this.
It's almost like the opposite of jazz hands, right?
Yeah.
It's routes on air, routes on air. That's fantastic. All right, fantastic. We may have to do that, right there for him.
Yeah, do it.
And I'm going to have to ask you a zany question once we get off the air here because we're going to make you our first question of the day interviewee. That does it with Blake Shapen, Mississippi State quarterback. Blake, best of luck this fall.
Thank you all. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Let's send it back to Lauren and Taylor back at 1010XL World Headquarters, ladies.
All right, good stuff there from Blake. And, Yeah, I feel like Mississippi State fans, Taylor, have had to go through a lot of change over the last few seasons.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's a lot harder to know what to expect once Dan Mullen left. But at this point in time, Jeff Lebby, who hopefully we're going to hear from with Matt and Mia in just a little bit, is going to be able to get this program back to the days when they were the number one team. Isn't this crazy? They were the number one team in the country when the very first college football poll, when we had the college football playoff, began.
Yeah, it's wild to think about that. And I was just kind of going through some of the Mississippi State Media Day posts that we've seen so far throughout the day. And there's a whole lot of just Mississippi State versus Ole Miss, that conversation. And I think a lot of people are pretty vocal that Ole Miss is a better team than Mississippi State. But some of the linebackers on Mississippi State are really vocal right now and some of the interviews they've done today that they think they can be at the same level as that. And I know Mississippi State fans want to get there. And when we're talking about this Jeff Lebby offense and kind of what Blake Shapen, who you just heard with Mia and Matt, what he was talking about and kind of what he was able to do at Baylor, how quickly he can learn this new offense because it is drastically different than what he saw at Baylor. So that'll be kind of fun to watch his progression of just college football in general, but a completely different style offense.
Yeah, and coming up at SEC Media Days at 1:50, Billy Napier meets with media. I guarantee, Taylor, that there will be a lot of questions surrounding the schedule, the daunting schedule that is set before the Gators. There will be a lot of questions surrounding Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway, the two quarterbacks. Not that it's a competition per se. Certainly, I think Graham Mertz is going to be the guy that is expected to start the entire season, but certainly have packages for DJ Lagway. And then, of course, you've got Trevor Etienne, who is now a Georgia Bulldog and no longer there in Florida's running back room. But I think Florida feels really good about its skill positions between a guy like Trey Wilson, who's coming back for his sophomore season, and certainly Montrell Johnson, who's been with Billy Napier now for several years.
Yeah. And I think also a big one that a lot of people will want to talk to Napier about is the defense. The defense has been massively underwhelming the last couple seasons, and even last year down to fundamentals, not being able to tackle, not being in the right spot. There was a lot of issues when it came to what should be basics in college football for the Florida Gator defense. And so to hear kind of what they're looking at to fix that, not only by players, but also coaching, because coaching is a part of that. There was clearly coaching issues because there was a lot of lack of communication late in the season for the Gators on that side.
Yeah, the moment that Austin Armstrong was announced as the hire for defensive coordinator, and at the time he was under the age of 30, I thought, wow, cool that Napier was able to get him away from Saban's staff at the time there at Alabama. But is he ready to handle the full responsibility of a defensive coordinator at Power 5 University and one with certainly expectations of turning its program around? And I think the answer was not exactly. And so we did see that play out. Everyone talks about how bad LSU's defense was, and that's because of the fact that LSU's offense was so good. It seems like they could have won a national championship if the defense had been better. But certainly Florida's defense was historically bad the last couple of seasons. So they have a lot of work to do. And a guy people thought would have already been drafted in Jason Marshall is returning there in Gainesville. And he's a guy that, I think people thought would already be figuring out where he fits on an NFL team right now.
Yeah, and I think obviously the news that we talked about a couple days ago too, of one of the bigger signings in college football with Cormani and what is going on with that situation. We saw reports later because initially it was saying that he was off the team because he hadn't been showing up to practice, and all of these other situations have kind of unraveled. And then all of a sudden we started hearing reports later in the day because Will Harris posted and was like, this is not true. And other reports kind of came out and was like, this is inaccurate. He's still on the football team. So that situation will be interesting to follow too, because that was definitely not just for Florida, but college football in general, one of the bigger signings.
Yeah, I do remember last year at SEC Media Days, Billy Napier was pretty confident that his team was going to be better than a lot of people expected. As we saw, it didn't really turn out that way. Florida had its chances and moments, certainly a 12-0 lead over FSU to end the season and couldn't hold on to that and win the game. Certainly had a chance in Arkansas, didn't do that either. And so I think a big part of it, too, the question marks would be the offensive line. And so yes, it looks very similar to last year. So it's kind of like Jags. People are concerned that if you've got the same pretty much outside of the right tackle, are you going to be successful? But we certainly know that offensive line can improve if they can stay healthy and things like that. So that's another.
Well, that's such a massive part of, and this will be honestly another thing to look at of Billy Napier and his staff then, because you are bringing out back the majority of those offensive linemen who did not look good last year, but were you able to develop them through this season and through this offseason to where you do see an improvement? And that's part of obviously what you have in college football is not only, hey, we got a guy at the portal who can instantly start right away and be one of the best in the nation, but also can we recruit these guys and develop them into players that are getting drafted?
Absolutely. So Florida meets with the media at 1:50, and then Texas at 3:20. There in Dallas, using quarterback and Ewers. We'll meet with everybody this afternoon in a little bit. And we will take a break, Taylor, and on the other side, hopefully the contingent in Dallas will catch up with Jeff Levy, the head coach of Mississippi State. And then coming up tomorrow, Arkansas, Sam Pittman meets with media at 10:35. Texas A&M, the new head coach there, Mike Elko, at 12:05. Auburn at 2:05 with Hugh Freeze in his second year there at Kentucky with Mark Stoops, one of the longest tenured coaches in all of the SEC, at 3:25. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use, folks. Just go to mybookie.ag and click Live Casino, third from the left at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And yes, the rumors are true. You don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
Let's go! It's Military Appreciation Night this Saturday, July 20th at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Join us for exciting football action and help salute and celebrate our military. As a thank you, all active and retired servicemen and women can get a special buy one, get one free ticket deal. And the first 1,000 fans will receive a free military rally towel. Ask about the new Family 4-packs. You get 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $25 Al's Pizza gift card. Purchase yours today. Call 904-621-0700 for more information. Make sure to check out our special military jersey auction and player autograph session on the field after the game. Get photos with your favorite player or dancer. Let's go! Don't miss the fun this Saturday, July 20th. For tickets, visit jacksharks.com or call 621-0700. That's 904-621-0700.
Let's go!
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialists is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone,
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, with answers to the questions I'm asked the most. Yes, we are local, and no, I'm not hiring an actor to read these commercials. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The official kickoff of college football season. SEC Media Days. Presented by Underwood Jewelers and Southern Steer Butcher on 1010XL.
All right, we're back in Dallas, live at SEC Media Days. Pleased to welcome Mississippi State coach Jeff Lebby. Jeff, the SEC has come to your neck of the woods, man.
Yeah.
What's it like?
No, it's good. There's I've got such great familiarity, obviously, with the area. I talked about it too in the opening statement earlier in the big room. Just love the fact that we're doing this, and we're in Dak City, and God, that means so much to us and our university.
So when you were considering the Mississippi State job, did you realize the enormity of what they had done there facility-wise and how that is a beautiful facility as far as like dealing with football?
Yeah, the setting of it and our entire campus, it's beautiful. It's got such great history there, and I obviously was familiar with Davis Wade and the energy and the passion that our fan base operates with, which is, man, what it's all about.
Has your family purchased enough cowbell heading into their first season?
I believe so. My 6-year-old hadn't put one down, so hopefully he'll lighten the load a little bit.
Jeff Lebby, the head coach of Mississippi State, joining us on Helmets and Heels. And, Jeff, now getting to meet you in person. I haven't gotten a chance to actually shake your hand because I was setting the cameras up.
Yeah.
But having just spoken to Blake Shapen, your quarterback, he let us in on a fun – we asked what the fun, quirky fact we needed to ask you about was. And now that I'm seeing you for the first time in person, Matt, can we do it together when the quarterbats throw on air?
Yes.
You do, what's the dance that you do?
I don't
move on air dance.
On air. On air. I'm now envisioning you doing.
Hands,
yes.
It's the same thing every single day.
I'm envisioning you doing the. We said it's like jazz hands, but better.
But way better. Routes on air. That's
Routes on air.
Routes on air.
Routes on air.
Routes on air.
All right. So listen. So at UCF, you guys developed McKenzie and Milton and Dylan Gabriel. In Ole Miss, you literally turned a quarterback who had a lot of questions, Matt Corral, into a big-time player.
Yeah.
You have a history of that. Now you've got Blake, who has played well at times at Baylor and struggled at other times. How do you turn him into the best Blake Shapen?
I think he's got everything that we want, and we need. And he's a guy that intangibly is really, really good, and he's really, really good physically. And so I watch him play the game, and he's one that looks like my kind of guy, our kind of guy that can go create, that can extend, but operate and make all the layups. Inside this league, you got to make all the layups, and then you've got to find a way to make some off-platform throws, to make some off-schedule plays, and to create some chunks at times when maybe nobody expected it. So he can do those things. I couldn't be more proud of just his buy-in, his energy, his toughness, and who he's been inside the building every day.
He's a willing runner, too, is he not?
100% he is, which is, that's going to be a big part of it.
Which is what you have with Matt Corral, which is what you have with all those guys, McKenzie and even Dylan.
Just being able to do just enough. That's right.
Jeff, you are one of 3 coaches hired this coaching cycle in the Power 4, which it's still so weird to say Power 4, not Power 5. 3 of the head coaches that were hired that did not have previous head coaching experience. What's been the biggest challenge for you so far?
Yeah, I think just how constant it is when you're talking about we've got 120 players in the locker room. We've got 63 staff members that are inside our building. And, for me, wanting to be so connected, wanting to create this culture of connection and family and the atmosphere that I want inside the building every day, well, that means you got to know people. And that means that from a time standpoint, it's incredibly constant. And that's part of it. I think that's probably the thing that that has surprised me a little more is how constant all of the people are from a day to day. But feel great about where we're at, feel great about our staff and where we're going.
So I asked Josh Heupel this yesterday, and you're another great guy to ask this. Why don't more people run your system of receivers at the numbers and spreading everybody out?
Yeah.
Why don't more people do that?
I think you've had to have lived it, done it, called it to know how to adjust it and how to create answers, because it's not in the coaching book. You know,
It's so successful. I mean, from Art all the way up to you guys now.
Sure, and then that's something that for us, you know, it is different, and there's a part of it that you got to live it, and you got to be entrenched in it, and you got to commit to it to do it.
I'm glad that Matt brought up Josh, because I was going to bring up Josh. How much, now that you're in the same conference, I know it's a little bit more difficult, but how much have you leaned on him for advice?
I pull so much experience from our time together. I have so much respect for him. The job he's done to me is just absolutely incredible. The belief that he has inside their program and the energy that he has inside their program. He's someone that forever I'll be indebted to hiring me there at UCF and creating an opportunity.
All right, we know you got to roll. One last question before you go. First ever college football playoff ball, Mississippi State was number 1.
Yeah.
It can be done there, right?
It can. It absolutely can. Great proximity to players and incredible support. Let's get to work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Appreciate
Jeff
it,
Levy, head coach, Mississippi State. Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Our thanks to Jeff Levy for joining us here on Helmets and Heels as we welcome back in Lauren and Taylor back at World Headquarters. Ladies, Mississippi State, as Matt said, and Matt just asked Coach Levy, they've been number 1 in the college football playoff poll before. You can win at Mississippi State, as much as perhaps it's been a little bit more trying in the years of late.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people around here know that Dan Mullen had that team rolling for quite a few years. And as Taylor and I have talked about before, Dak Prescott, drafted in 2016. They've obviously referenced him a lot there in Dallas this week for a good reason, because he's the quarterback of the Cowboys that reside there in Dallas. And yeah, he went to Mississippi State, played for Dan Mullen, and look at what he's done since being drafted in the 4th round, right?
Yeah.
Yes, 4th round, correct.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and I think that it took me a second. I'm like, why are they talking about Dak Prescott so much? Then I was like, oh, yeah, we're talking about this school. But it's been almost a decade, which is honestly wild to think about. But when you talk about this program, Mia and Lauren and I were addressing it a little bit of just how that a lot of the conversation that I've seen on Twitter from the media days today is that, which it is in general, but that Ole Miss v. Mississippi State. And some of these linebackers and defensive guys that are on Mississippi State seem pretty vocal and confident that they can match up and kind of close the gap of what has been recent between those two teams.
Have you seen some of the photos of these Mississippi State guys? Because I think that I mean, even Blake sitting down. I mean, he's a well-built dude. But yes, Albert Reese, his fit is incredible. Holly Rowe tweeted out a video of him showcasing his jacket and all the pictures of him that he has in the fitting of the jacket. Yeah, I mean, the dude's a monster. I think he's got to be like 6'6" or something like that. Again, in this age of the transfer portal, it is the ultimate question of how quickly can you rebuild your team. In theory, because it's like fantasy football, it should be easy. But it's so much harder, especially whereas compared to basketball, when you only have 5 players on the court at a time, you have 22. You guys heard Blake Shapen say when we interviewed the quarterback that he feels like half of this roster is new to Starkville. And he's not wrong in saying that. And so it's so fascinating to see, especially in a day and age in which we've seen Kalen DeBoer go to Washington, Brian Kelly go to LSU, and how quickly they've rebuilt those programs through the portal. Even closer to home, hey, first reference, I think, of the program to Florida State and Mike Norvell and what he's been able to do.
It is also wild to think about how quickly some of these schools do bring in a large amount of portal players and still not miss a beat, because we talk in the NFL like, oh, there's so many new pieces, it's going to take a little while for everybody to start clicking. But in the college football world, it's just so normal that it's just, okay, here we go. Here's our new group, at least recently with the way the portal is now. Oh, here's our new group of transfer portals. Let's go.
Yeah. Right. And it's just, hey, you got to just accept that this is the culture. This is what we do, and get on in there.
I can confirm 2 things thanks to X or Twitter. Scott Carter, who writes for FloridaGators.com, tweeted out a picture of Billy Napier in a scrum with some media members. So he has certainly landed there in Dallas and will meet with the media in the big room, the big conference room, in about 10 minutes. And then SEC Nation will visit Gainesville for the Florida-Miami game in week 1, that according to onlygators.com. So we've talked certainly a lot about how important that game is on the schedule, and I'm sure that's another question that people will be asking Billy Napier about in the next few minutes, and that is, how big is that week 1 game going against Mario Cristobal and the Canes, now with, speaking of the transfer portal, Cam Ward at the helm?
Yes, absolutely. And while we're on the subject of breaking news, Lauren, let's hit that real quick, RJ, because I think this one's pretty interesting from our friend Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So the NCAA Council was recently presented with a proposed governance structure that would create 2 Division I's. It would be to accommodate the Power Four's desire to have its own governance division to make its own rules. Not a full breakaway, but a recognition those commissioners don't want Division III presidents voting on roster caps anymore. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's just about not including Division III presidents' decision-making in actually making decisions. I think this is a lot more of the ultimate goal of creating their own unique structure for governing the sport of football, if not all of the major revenue sports in Division I Power 4 sports.
Yeah, certainly busy week for Dennis Dodd. Dealing with all the different media days the last really couple weeks, and then that stuff as well. All right, one other subject I wanted to get to before we get out of here today, ladies, and that would be, if Trevor Lawrence is not the MVP of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who would it be? Our friend Zach Goodall of Jaguars Wire, used to cover the Gators, now covers the Jags. He selected Mitch Morse, the center, which I find that answer fascinating, because you're talking about an offensive lineman as MVP, that's A, but B, I think there are so many other options that I would choose well ahead of Mitch Morse, even though I do think his play is going to be critical to whether or not this offense plays a lot better than it did a season ago. My answer would be Tyson Campbell, because of all the different receivers, including week 1 against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but all the different receivers, Devontae Adams in there as well, that he will face throughout the season.
Yeah, I think there's many ways we can go. I would say I get the Mitch Morse because I think that when we're talking about every excuse that people have said for Trevor, a lot of it revolve around the offensive line, not being able to run the ball, his injuries, the fumbles because he has to get out of the pocket quick. Every criticism of Trevor that people want to then blame the offensive line, Mitch Morse is the only change, so he has to be the one that fixes everything when it comes to the offensive line woes from last year. So I completely get if Mitch Morse comes in and this offensive line goes from, a bottom few to a top 10, then yeah, I would completely understand. But I do think there's many other ways you can go with that. And I almost even want to go with who I said was, to me, my top player when it comes to what this team is kind of relying on, and that's Eric Armstead for me, because I do think we're still counting on Trayvon and Josh Allen just building off of what they had last year, but a guy like Eric Armstead being able to get that interior pass rush that was non-existent last year, also be able to help on certain situations when it comes to third down, which they were terrible at last year, certain red zone situations and stopping the run in general. All of those factor in so much to what Eric can do in the middle of that defensive line. So I could see somebody like that being a massive change in what the defense could look like, which also could be beneficial, because if you can't score 40 points a game, then you need a defense that doesn't make you have to.
Yeah, I think those are 2 critical cogs to the machine, if you may, Taylor. I do think that those will be 2 unsung heroes and perhaps will be MVPs when all is said and done, even if they don't get the publicity for it. But for me, when I look at the operation last season, it went into the gutter as soon as Christian Kirk got hurt. And so do you believe he's a wide receiver 1? Do you not believe he's a wide receiver 1? What I believe is that the offense looks a heck of a lot better when he is out there on the field operating at peak efficiency than it does when he is absent. And so perhaps this is just recency bias and the fact that without him last year, the offense, which was already anemic to begin with, looked even more just absolutely undesirable from what you want from across the board. That's where, for me, it has to be Christian Kirk. And yes, eventually he's not going to be wide receiver 1. Brian Thomas Jr. was drafted to be that lead wide receiver. But at this juncture in time, he is easily the most important player not named Trevor Lawrence on the offensive side of the ball.
I'll also throw this name out there, since none of us said Josh Hines-Allen, but I think we all know how important he is. But Trayvon Walker, if he really does end up being the incredibly talented edge rusher that we thought he would be by this point, because we all knew that he had to learn some pass rush moves. That's a guy where if he does get double-digit sacks again, certainly if he's pressuring the quarterback and affecting the opponent's quarterback game in and game out, and people do have to try and figure out ways to double team him and things like that couldn't be another guy that could win MVP if it's not, again, the names we always talk about, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen.
Yeah, and I think another one, too, is Ronald Darby. We've talked a ton about what the opposite side of Tyson Campbell looks like, and yes, Tyson Campbell is the guy that you are relying on to being that your number one cornerback, but that also means a lot of times he's being avoided and the other guy's getting picked on, so how much slack does Darby come out? And if he comes out hot and has played, I read a stat earlier that he's allowed just like 46-point-something completion percentage against him in his recent games, so if he comes out and does that, then they can't avoid Tyson Campbell, and that changes the whole secondary as a whole of how they can approach certain situations. So there's a lot of guys, if you're not talking about the main stars on the team, a lot of different ways you could go.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Trayvon Walker, Lauren, because I noticed we did not bring up Josh Hines-Allen either in this conversation, outside of to compare him to Trayvon Walker. He has a lot of fans here at SEC Media Days, and the Kentucky contingent doesn't arrive until tomorrow. For those outside of Duval County, they probably say he has to be the MVP, but I couldn't agree more, because we heard from Mike Tomlin prior to that Week 8 meeting between the Jaguars and the Steelers last year that when they were scouting the Jaguars, he was most concerned about 44, not 41. And I think in the moment that shocked a lot of people. I think that still shocks a lot of people, despite Trayvon finishing with 10 sacks. But the truth of the matter, and I've been saying this now for a year, is that he was drafted fully knowing, this organization fully knew, that he may not lead the team in sacks every year, but he will create opportunities for other guys to get sacks. And there are those of you driving around in your car right now. I see you Heeligans, I see you Hillbillies, and you say, no, like Josh created opportunities for Trayvon. No, it has to be a yin and a yang. That was the problem with years 2 through 4 for Josh Allen, was that he did not have someone opposite him operating at peak efficiency to create for him and also clean up the dirty work that he had created. And so that's where, for me, again, I stick by my prediction. I think Trayvon will have more sacks than Josh, and that's not a knock on JHA. That is solely because I believe Trayvon is about to come into his own.
All right, Mia, we know we have Greg Sankey coming up at 2 o'clock to kick things off for XL Primetime. Billy Napier at 5 p.m. Eastern. Anything else coming down the pipeline?
Yes, the hope is that we will be able to get those 3 Florida players in some form or fashion, so hopefully we will get them on during XL Primetime or Frangie Show. One way or another, we will get them on our social channels later on this afternoon. And yes, Billy Napier will be at the podium in about 3 minutes from now, so we'll also have some updates from there. We have Greg Sankey joining us. Frank had the opportunity to sit down with Jim Nagy, the director of the Senior Bowl, so that's going to be coming up in the Frangie Show. And we, of course, will have as much content as we possibly can right here live on the air, including, hopefully, fingers crossed, perhaps some of the Texas contingent, which will be the final school to be represented here today.
Sounds good. All right, RJ, hit it.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, my takeaway is that Billy Napier is about to meet with the media. 1:50 p.m. What shall he say? That we'll find out.
Get your popcorn ready.
My takeaway is going back to my tangent brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Either fix the All-Star games or get rid of them, because they're just not, they're very watered down and people are not enjoying them or watching them anymore.
My takeaway is get to IKEA, buy stock in the Swedes. Ludwig Oberg will become the winner of the Open Championship this weekend. He will win the Open Championship, the second Swede to win at Royal Troon, and continue a torrid summer. Could he push Scotty Scheffler down the stretch? Well, we'll see if Scotty makes the cut at this major championship.
Sounds good. That's going to do it for us today. But, of course, don't go anywhere. XL Primetime with Greg Sankey right off the rip is coming up. Thanks to all of the people in Dallas, Frank Frangie,